Hello friends, this is Bilal Heather, and in this video part we are going to learn about another array method which can be very helpful. So let's say um, you're running an organization where you maybe have 20 employees, and you have given them all one task each, right? And you want them to submit their task on an online platform that you're running, that your organization is running, and you put you put a condition on them that everyone needs to perform this task to get a bonus, right? If even one of them doesn't complete his task, no one's going to get the bonus, right? So this method which we are going to learn now, basically it is there to make sure everything is what you want it to be. So every if even one of if even one of the in our employees example, if even one of the employee doesn't submit his tasks, no one's going to get the bonus. Okay, so everyone needs to submit their task in order to get the bonus. So to make our example simple, I'm just using an array with numbers. So what I want to do here is I want to make sure every one of these values is greater than 10. Okay, so or greater than some number. Okay, in order for my result to evaluate to true. Okay, so and we just like we talked about earlier, we are not limited to just use numbers or strings. When we are working with arrays, we can put JavaScript objects in there. We talked about it several times, so you know. But for this example, I'm simply using numbers here. But you can, as I said, you can put employees data in here. Maybe you create a user with a JSON object, and you put a new property is has submitted task equals false for beginning, and as soon as someone submits the task, you set the boolean to true. So when all of them are true, then you know that they are ready to get their bonus, right? So for now we are just using this array here, and we will just check for a number. If a single number is greater than maybe 10, if all of them are greater than 10, only then our condition needs to evaluate to true. One solution which you can think about is, which is the hard painful way of doing it, is maybe you will use an if condition here, and maybe you will say funds 0 is greater than 10 and funds 1 is greater than 10, funds 2 greater than 10, funds 3, fund 4, 5. So this will be a painful task for you to do. So instead we have a method here to work with this kind of a scenario. So how does it work? We create a result variable just like we did with our previous examples, and we use funds dot every. Okay. And every is just like the other find, filter, map methods, where it's going to take a function, right? And inside that function we are going to check for the value. Okay, so this item here which I have written here, this item will be for the first iteration it's going to be this number here. For a second iteration it's going to be 30 and 500 and 210. right? But as I said, you can put JSON objects in here and iterate through them as well, but for this example I'm just using numbers. So if item is greater than 10, return true. Okay, so this was very simple method here, and all we did basically was to create this funds.every method here, and we are checking every single item in this array, and we are looping through all of them, and we are making sure every one of these numbers is greater than 10. Even if one number is not greater than 10, this whole thing will result false. Okay, so the purpose of this is we want everything to be what we want them to be. Okay, so we are not limited to just perform a comparison here, like the greater than symbol. We can do any conditional statement here. Maybe we have an array of some strings, and we want all of them to contain the same thing in them, right? So you can think about several use cases and use it. So for now I'm just going to console log the result here, and we'll see what it has. Okay, so node index.js, and it's resulting false, right? Because if you look into this array, there is one element which is not greater than 10, which is 10, right? So if I make it 100, right, and if I run the loop again, it's going to return me true, because when this loop executed, it checked every single value in it, and it made sure that every one of it is greater than 10. So even in our example, indeed every single value is greater than 10. So the whole thing, this whole operation resulted a true value, and that's how we make sure everything is what we want it to be, right? So let's actually go ahead and let's put everything needs to be greater than 30. Okay, so if I run this now, it's going to return false, because there is this one value which is not greater than 30, and then there is this another value which is not greater than 30. It is 30. So there are two values in our array which are not greater than 30. That is why this function resulted false. Okay, so this method can be very useful in several scenarios when where we have a data set and we need to make sure everything is what it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's say maybe we have a list of users, right, and we only want them to have a username and an age. Okay, we only want them to have these two properties and nothing else, right? So we can use this every method to check if every single one of them only has these two properties. Only then we can tell that everything is alright, everything is good. If even one of them adds one more property, maybe if a user adds maybe a phone number, right, but our application doesn't allow a user to insert a phone number property in it. Okay, so this every method we can use to check if every single one of them has the properties what they are supposed to have. So it basically helps you in um, getting more secure, or maybe, I mean, you understand it now how it works. So um, yeah, so this is all for this part. You can um, create another method in here, your own custom method, like just like we did in the previous videos, and maybe you can call it find greater than 10, right? Or you can call it is greater than number or something, a custom message. And rather than doing this kind of thing in your program, you create your custom method and just um, pass it a number, and it will do the exact same thing for you. So I guess this is all for now. I'll come back with another one soon.